99, the here and now. And you haven't got the sense to know when you're licked.
You know, I'm thinking that one should have gone on our last show with all the oral stuff going on and everything, you know?
You know, it's all in the timing, man. It's all in the
Welcome in, friends!
Off to a rollicking start already.
And why not? It's number 99, the pre-centennial show, Mr. Keynes. And we are staring up at the very nose hairs of the big 100th show as we speak.
Yeah, and speaking of that, what's up with...
Soon, Mr. Keynes. Soon. All things will be revealed soon, but first, once again, welcome in, friends, to this, the 99th episode of Fusebox entitled The Here and Now. Cleverly spelled with a...
Saw what you did there.
Nothing gets by you, sir. Not one thing. Yes, the show's title is spelled H-E-A-R because, well, it was misspelled and it's too late to change it. I am your Does This Taste Like Poison to You? Host, Mark Rose, and that over there, in his powder blue jumpsuit with the ever so stylish gold lame trim, is the Deacon of Decibels himself, Milt Keynes, everybody.
Man, you're gonna kill my radio image. There is no gold lame on this jumpsuit. Little faux mink trim, maybe.
Yes, always the fashion maverick, for sure.
So, what's up with 100, man?
Okay, all right. So as you know, on the last show, I mentioned that I was having this meeting with a chap concerning that very thing, what to do for our 100th show. Well, the guy came through.
Really? With what?
Well, Bud Freedluck is the guy's name, and what he does is he collects audio ephemera, you might say. Has quite the stash of audio curiosities, actually, ranging from Oval Office discussions with Nixon and Agnew, once thought erased by Rosemary Woods. No. All the way to rehearsal tapes from a very little-known band from Liverpool in the 1960s.
Holy shit, he's got Gary and the Pacemakers sound checks?
No. The other band from around there.
So what's he got?
Well, Mr. Keynes, and this is what I thought would make 100 extra special. I figured we'd just all get together and listen to it without previewing it or advance preparation and just take the ride.
What? Wait, you mean listen to this thing without knowing if there's anything on it?
Oh, no, there's something on it. Bud confirmed that and said the fidelity was okay considering the vintage and that the reels had been stored in a box labeled kitchen for a long time, but I'm really excited by this prospect. I mean, it's going to be great fun, man.
Well, I don't know, man. You got a plan B in case this thing goes sideways and the tape crumbles into sand before we even get a chance to thread it up?
Yeah, but this is going to work out great. So I'm jazzed about finding this thing, really.
You're not going to tell me what it is, though.
No. I want you to be as surprised as I was to discover this thing. And I asked our partner in audio crime here to join us for that too, Jeff Pollard. So he'll be here as well for that unveiling.
Great. Well, you better eat your Wheaties that day, amigo, because if this thing goes down like the Hindenburg, I will be forced to clean your clock, and I bet I can get old Pollard to join in the fun and games, too.
Not to worry. I am confident this will be amazing, and I promise you it will be unforgettable, truly.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
Remember to send your name suggestion for Milt's Cocktail to Milt at thefuseboxshow.com. The winner will be selected and announced on September 12th on Fusebox number 101. Yes, friends, to further the redundancy rate on this promotion, please feel free to send your drink name ideas to us here at Fusebox, as we are giving away a wonderful little trinket from the Fusebox store to the best name submitted for Milt's favorite beverage, the Yoo-Hoo and vodka concoction he so adores. And send all those there name suggestions to Milt, M-I-L-T, at thefuseboxshow.com.
Thanks.
Don't mention it. We'll be picking the lucky winner on our show number 101, which runs September 12th, which means you still got some time to get those into us, but please, don't delay.
Prices subject to availability. Your actual mileage may vary. Some objects are closer than they appear. Do not use if handling pangolins or other scaly mammals.
So, speaking of the risks of audio, did you happen to see this piece in the news?
A high probability I did not.
Act of purest optimism. A man wearing a mask and hood entered a Wisconsin radio station early Sunday morning and opened fire on the 3 disc jockeys in the broadcast studio. WORT-FM, a radio station based in Madison, Wisconsin, said in a statement that witnesses said 5 gunshots were fired, injuring one DJ in the buttocks and shattering the glass between studios.
What?
Yeah. The injured DJ was transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries and later discharged. No major injuries were reported and no arrest has been made in the case. A motive for the shooting was still unknown, and it's unclear how the assailant entered the building. You see? You see what I'm saying? Radio is a dangerous business, man. You can get shot in the ass for playing the wrong song sometimes, you know? WORT is a non-commercial community radio station and probably, as many have around the country, tweaked somebody off a time or 2 or 9. You know, I mean, you serve the community, and that community is made up of lots of varying opinions, and oftentimes, those opinions, they just don't play nice together.
You know, this kind of reminds me of the time in Amarillo when some gal locked herself in the air studio with 12 cans of hairspray and a barbecue lighter and said she'd torch the place if we didn't agree to play Abba all day, every day.
What? In Texas?
Yes, sir. And she was about as round as a 75 pacer and was damn serious about the programming change, man.
Holy carp.
Yeah, made the news and everything.
Abba all day.
Yeah. Thing is, this was a sports talk station. So that idea didn't float with management too well at all.
So how did they get her out of there?
Well, they did what most station owners do. They lied.
What?
Yeah. The program director went over to the FM side and grabbed a few Abba carts and fired them up from the other control room and let them play for about an hour. Before the gal was convinced, they actually did make the change and came out to then, of course, be quickly escorted off the premises by Amarillo's finest.
So, like, the sports talk audience was treated to Abba's hits for an hour?
Nah, they never heard the change at all. The PD pumped the feed only into the room she was in. She never knew the difference. They also turned the AC off during the last half hour, so she was getting pretty damp in there.
Wow. Just wow. But speaking of, you know what? I have never asked you this before, but how did...
I had no idea. It wasn't my fault, man. She said she was 18.
What?
Oh, never mind.
No, what I wondered was, how did you get into this radio thing in the first place?
Oh, well, that's an easy one. I got into radio because, I figured I could score free concert tickets and backstage passes.
Really?
Yeah. That, and I could always pretend to be, in the band to get groupies and shit.
How glamorous. There's like no crazed obsession with the medium or the power of communication or...
Hell no. Who cares? Now, admittedly, later it kind of developed into something more meaningful, I guess, but not at first.
I feel so shattered. Here I am thinking that little Milty was just this crazed and obsessed gearhead that just had to get into this radio thing for the significant contribution that you could make to the medium.
Well, we all have disappointments in our lives, and that is one of yours.
Alas. But since we're talking about the pre-centennial festivities and all of that grand stuff, I gotta say, probably the most asked question we get, without a doubt, is how do we come up with these show ideas? Because let's face it, it's a challenge to do a show. It's not an easy thing at all. Believe me, and trying to find interesting topics to discuss or, insightful guests to interview or coming up with entertaining and hopefully funny comedy bits or sketches isn't an easy task to undertake for even one show, let alone 100 shows. So we thought it might be interesting for you folks out there listening who also might be wondering how a show comes together if we recorded and played for you a typical creative meeting between the three co-producers of the show, Milt, Jeff Pollard, and myself, so you can, see how we do what we do. Oh, yeah. Alrighty, so, okay, hey, show number 100. Does anybody have any brilliant ideas about what we should do?
Yeah. Let's do the show naked.
You're an idiot.
And there you have it, folks, a behind-the-scenes glimpse into just how we come up with ideas for our show.
Definitely one of our better creative meetings.
Some actually may wonder how this show came to be in the first place.
Yeah, I've woken up screaming a few times thinking about that.
Yes. Well, as our colleague Jeff Pollard is keen to say, this was not my first rodeo, friends. In creating the idea for the show, I had taken copious notes from the prior internet and broadcast radio experiences back in, the 90s and in 2005, when we had that now nearly infamous Area 51 show back during the dawn of podcasting. Now, that was a very fun experience, and many of the folks you hear on this program now joined us for the merriment back then on Area 51. And for some reason, they still talk to me. But A51 was not without its political struggles and foment along the way. And it faded in late 2006, if I recall correctly. But we had a nice little run there, and we were in the top 10 pretty much all the time of the comedy podcasts.
Do you have any of those shows?
Well, here's the deal. See, I was mainly responsible for producing the bits that were in the shows, and I wasn't hosting the show. Those duties fell to Scott Campbell and Bobby Black, who would routinely do their recordings from like a live location, like a coffee shop or cafe or some such thing. So the final show assembly and posting and all that was done down in Florida by a terrific chap named J.R. Sanson, who was just a prince of a guy. You know what I'm saying?
Did he like purple?
I don't know. He was a quiet type. So consequently, I don't have any of the actual assembled shows. And I'm not sure our buddy JR does either by now, but I do have all the bits and segment headers and bumpers and stuff that I designed for that show. And somewhere out there in the archive is an air check of the broadcast radio version of that show we did from like 1997 or something.
Oh, so that's it. You're going to play an air check of the old A51 show for the 100th, aren't you?
No.
Crap.
So I can, in all honesty, say that the reason I created this show, Fusebox, was as personal therapy.
Yeah, you've said that. Well, first time I came in, you said that this thing was like a kind of therapy for you. And why was that?
Well, as many may know, as a job, I work in what is commonly referred to as audio post-production, and have for decades now. I have a company called Fuse, and for the longest time, the only truly creative vent I had was when a piece of animation came in that needed the full course treatment, and that would be glorious for a while, but then once it was done, you're back to the more usual fare. Now, that's no less important, mind you, but a lot less creatively challenging. So around, 2015, things were getting a bit thin work-wise, friends. It was really quiet some days, and it got me to thinking that I needed something to keep my chops as well as my spirits up. And I got to say, through all of these years, going back as far as 2005, when I first discovered his show, I'd been listening to the Overnightscape, hosted by our intrepid channel meister here, Frank Edward Nora. Never stopped listening. Even when I was long out of the podcasting thing, I would still listen to Frank ramble on about the fabric of the universe and other interesting morsels of thought. And then it dawned on me that maybe I could do one of these things. At first I thought, what the hell would I talk about that anybody would find the least bit interesting or entertaining? And then I thought, well, you know what? Let me just take step one. I'll reach out to Frank and inquire as to whether he would even be open to hearing a sample show, which, as it turns out, he was. And then I promptly set the wheels in motion and put together the first Fusebox show entitled Ignition.
I remember that day. You had another guy in here first, but he didn't work out. And I'm thinking, how hard can this be? I mean, it's not live. You have plenty of time to get it right, and they can't see you. My kind of show.
No, man, you were a godsend, Milt.
Oh, thanks, man.
No, really. I had a lot to think about in terms of, the show flow and content, and then that whole post-production show management thing, which, I had never done before. So I was delighted to have your help. And also that as time went along, you became a truly valuable content provider here. Really. I know this because Jeff told me so. No, seriously. There have been some wonderful moments here, and I think it's really interesting to watch our relationship change over the course of that first year.
Yeah, well, I didn't really know how far to go. I'm coming in here thinking I'm just going to play it mellow until I see how this boat floats. And if it starts taking on water, I'll bail.
Saw what you did there.
And Pollard?
Yeah, another wonderful asset to this shindig. Now, I'd known Jeff for years, and I told him that I was going to do this thing, and I was in the process of mapping it out, and asked maybe, hey, do you want to do a character or two or 9? And he said, hell no, get away from me and take that stinking pocket squirrel out of my face. Luckily, he did not say that, but instead, after hearing 1 or 2 shows, said, hey, would you like me to help with the brand identity of this show? Because that's what he does. He's an identity guy, right? And having a show with a distinctive look was really crucial and important to me. So I said, hell no, I'll get somebody on Fiverr. Of course, I said, have at it. And,
Yeah, I noticed that right away. I mean, the show had a tood right from the start. And I dug the faces, all looking at you.
Yep, yeah, that was Jeff's idea, to always have eye contact with the viewer. It's one of the many little brand artifacts, if I can coin a term.
You can, but we'll be slapped promptly.
Fair enough. Then Jeff took a swing at writing some bits for the show, which have turned out fabulous, in my humble opinion nation. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Or maybe your story.
I saw what you did there, but sadly, wish I hadn't.
I call them as I see them.
And speaking of bits, one of our biggest stars is coming up now. Another grand piano-sized adventure with Timo. Let's listen in, shall we?
It's Timo's World. Oh, goody. It's time for Timo to upgrade his operating system. Won't that be fun?
Then have your lovely lady, or ladies, oil your thighs thoroughly, because oily thighs are happy thighs, if you catch my drift. Now let's talk about sniffing her gym socks.
Yes, sir. I'll get to the bottom of this right away. Miss Bendover, come into my office now.
Right away, Miss Sternmelons. You wanted to see me, Miss Sternmelons?
You were late again today, Miss Bendover, and you must be severely punished.
Oh, Miss Sternmelons, not another spanking. Ah!
Bookmark. And you are in 3 places at once.
And a gracious, giddy, and gloriously goofy good day to you, friends.
You see me.
Hello, and thank you for purchasing your IKEA ProMod 3X Data Matrix Deluxe computer. This automated alert is to inform you that you're currently running outdated operating system software, and it's now time for an upgrade. So, let's get started, shall we? Here at IKEA, we believe in making do-it-yourself projects as simply complicated and easy to unfollow as possible. So, to upgrade your old Pangolin OS to the brand new, older, obese, and flatulent Aardvark operating system, simply use the Tab Cap Lock Shift Clear Control Option Reverse Entering Purgatory keystroke using both hands and your left foot to execute. Now, gigaflop the Flavicon adware to establish your hexadecimal HDD index. Your bandwidth data fragment Linux cake saucer is now ready to keylog the waveform which you access in excess with no success by virtualization with the quad core. By repeating the 10 Commandments 6th Sense matrix, your OSBS is now SOS-PDQ and is properly misaligned with the terabyte bastard graphic partitioned inside the output device, designated for remote incest and second-party storage refresh rate. In order to maximize the minimum-maximum weight balance of the target disk mode taskbar, shift a brick and pass the ammunition until she'll be coming round the mountain. Next, and not until before beginning the end, orient the parallel postcard in order to engage the yottabyte function non-functionality forecast of gloom and doom, with a 75% chance of repercussion. There. Wasn't that easy? But we're not done yet. Simply restart your computer and the Aardvark operating system will be uploaded. Hello, and welcome to the IKEA Aardvark operating system. You are now ready to enjoy the latest in OS technology. But first, this automated alert is to inform you that you're currently running outdated operating system software and it's now time for an upgrade. Here at IKEA, we believe in making do-it-yourself projects as simply complicated and easy to unfollow as possible. So, to upgrade your old Aardvark OS to the brand new, older, obtuse, and reluctant Aardvark Plus operating system, simply use the command shit assembly now outlaw 19L password. Last shred of control and the biggest hammer to execute the sextant of the West. Now, get flop the flubber. Remember, IKEA offers free 24-hour-a-day technical support house calls. Along with free kittens and tacos.
Always frustrates me, but I can't crash through walls and wail like a banshee.
Well, I beg to differ. Get 7 or 9 of those pink fairies in you, and I bet you could melt concrete.
Green fairy. Green. And there would be way too much vomiting going on to melt anything, really, if you had that many, Well, maybe the aforementioned jettison substance might have some dissolving properties, I suppose, but I digest. This has been a show, friends. The pre-centennial edition of Fusebox will pack up its bamboo ear horns and assorted pipe fittings and ramble on down the road, but not without thanking our audaciously auditory assailants, Jody Lorimer, Sabra May, and Jeff Pollard. Thanks as well to the hyena of fashion,
Hey now!
the always unflappable Milt Keynes for technical assistance.
An honor and a privilege.
And thanks to you, friends, for pushing play on this edition of Fusebox, and we invite you to subscribe, please, to this humble program wherever you may have found it, and wherever it is, be it Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, OnSug, or a bevy of other places, unknown and unnamed. We so much appreciate you. And remember, get your Name Milt's drinks suggestions into us promptly, as we will be announcing the winner on show 101 on September 12th. And that is no joke. We're serious. It's for realsies, friends. Send them to Milt at thefuseboxshow.com. And for dog's sake, don't miss our going to be famous really soon 100th show next time. So I have been your licking the floor for the added fiber host, Mark Rose, saying, until our next cartoon.
Fuse.